Hi everybody, Parn here. This is episode 1 of Fallout 4. This will be our introduction to collecting resources and starting on your settlement. First point on collecting resources and building materials. Normally you can collect materials during, adventuring the Commonwealth, but also when you're in build mode, you can also scrap old structures, foliage and rubble from settlement areas like this. I'll just go down to one such a big structure. I'm going to discuss build mode a bit later, but I just want to show you this one situation here. Okay, right, this structure here is scrappable, but you will see this one here isn't. Fortunately, sometimes this will be the bane of your existence, trying to scrap something which is in the way, and unfortunately you can't. Okay, but regarding scrapping, I'll talk in a bit more detail on that a bit later on. Just know that most of the resources that you use for building is normally categorized as junk in your inventory, but I'll talk on all of that a bit later. Okay, regarding settlements, normally at the start of the game, and I am not going to give any spoilers, but at the start of the game you will end up in Sanctuary. Sanctuary will be the first place that you could build your first settlement, so to speak. There is going to be some guidance in the game regarding how to build here and things like that, but we found that most of the pop-ups and the guidance aren't quite adequate. There's a few minor things that you need to know to really fully make use of build and to enjoy it fully. Okay, so firstly, on acquiring a settlement, you may unlock a new settlement by either doing a mission for the settlement's current occupants when you get there during your adventuring, or by killing all of its occupants, which some of the more evil players might enjoy more. Identifying a settlement. All settlements have to have this. It's called the workshop. Looks like this. It basically functions as the settlement wide accessible container, and the normally, if you've done a mission, the settlers will normally either tell you, or a pop-up will tell you that the workshop has become available. Then it's just a matter of finding it and activating it. Normally when you activate it, when you hover over it, you activate it using E. The first time only E will be there. R will only become available later. Okay, so when you press E, it will open the build mode like this, and the settlement will then be unlocked for building. I'm just going to go escape here. You will see the other option there now is transfer. As I said, this is the settlement wide storage container, so that's how you would store things in this container. Crafting stations situated in the same settlement will allow you to transport deposit materials to or from the workshop without actually visiting the workshop itself. This is useful when you have a crafting station on a perimeter somewhere, and the workshop is, like in Sanctuary, centrally placed, because it could be tedious then having to run back and forth the whole time, especially if you're weighted down by the junk. Okay, this is the cooking station. It is one of these crafting stations. As you can see, it's got an R option there. You on the right hand side, it shows the workshop now. When you when you go to junk, you will see all the things that can be used for building materials there. You will also see, if I hover over it, it actually shows on the left hand side certain raw materials that it will give when that item is scrapped. Okay, let's leave that for now. There are crafting stations all over the Commonwealth which are not linked to workshops. They are just glorified containers, so you can store things there, but you won't be able to transfer to your other, or to access it from your settlement workshops and things like that, so take note of that. Supply convoys can be established between settlements in order to link their workshops together. This will then give you access to resources stored under junk from more than one settlement for the construction purposes, but we'll go into more detail on that in another episode. Regarding build mode, first time, as mentioned before, you will activate it at the workshop pressing E. Later though, you can just enter the settlement area, a buildable area somewhere, and hold B. That will give you access to build mode. The settlement buildable area is indicated by this green perimeter line around the area. Sanctuary is quite a large settlement, so the perimeter is quite wide. Also note, there is a height perimeter as well, which aren't readily apparent. Normally you will only come across it if you build high structures like towers, because you will find that some structures of yours might suddenly turn red and might not be buildable any further. That's normally when you have reached that. Also, if you leave the buildable area, this green area, for a while, or you go too high outside the buildable area, the build mode will auto exit. And yeah, so that's another way of knowing that you're outside it. There is also a build capacity. If you're in build mode, you'll see at the top right hand corner. Now, regarding those things, I'll talk a bit more detail in episode 2 on them, but you will see at the top right hand corner at the moment there's a size indicator that's like a little progress bar. If that progress bar is full, it goes yellow, and then you can't build anymore in this area. So unfortunately there is a build capacity limit as well. As previously mentioned, this is a settlement. I don't know whether I've clarified it enough, so I'll just reiterate that unfortunately this is a bit of bad news for some players. Some players would have liked to build anywhere in the Commonwealth. That's not possible. You have settlement areas. I'm not sure, I lost count. I didn't actually count my own settlements in the previous game, but there's probably between 20 or 30 of them spread out around the Commonwealth. Some of them are like pre-built up somewhat, so they're a bit more convenient than others. But yeah, it depends on your own preference. Some people rather prefer open to build their own thing totally. Right, let's see. Regarding scrapping and auto scrapping, as I said previously, when you're in build mode, now that's the other thing. Some commands and things are given in build mode, others are given outside build mode. I'll go into more detail on that when I discuss things like convoys and those types of things, and duty assignments and stuff. But at the moment, for instance, like scrapping is a command that you can only give when in build mode. You will normally go over something that is scrappable, like that building I scrapped earlier. It will turn yellow, and then you can scrap it. Sometimes you will find that things turn green instead. That normally means it can be either scrapped or stored. Store you normally do by pressing tab. Just a note, before you start going scrapping in build mode, it is advisable to rather exit build mode, scout the whole settlement area, kill any pests that would interfere with you while scrapping, and also open any secured containers like safes and things like that, because if you scrap a container, its contents will automatically be transferred to the workshop, but not if you scrap a safe. You will lose its contents, so just a warning there. Rather do the scouting first, collect all the stuff, and then start scrapping the rest. Sometimes you will find that areas are, how can you say, inaccessible, locked away, and you need to use scrapping to open those areas, but yeah, well, you'll see when you get there. Okay, regarding what I term auto scrapping, earlier on I showed you in the workshop that the stuff is stored under junk, and then I showed you what raw materials you would get when you scrap that item. Now normally when you find that item on the settlement somewhere out in the open and you choose scrap, it'll scrap it straight into that component. If you go to beer bottle, if you go to a beer bottle for instance, if you scrap it, it'll give you 2 glass. Now if the beer bottle's lying out there in the open and you choose scrap, it'll give you the option to confirm the scrap and it'll show you 2 glass. However, if you store the beer bottle or you pick it up by some other means and you bring it to your workshop and you store it, it can still be scrapped, but the workshop will actually auto scrap it when it's necessary. So for instance, with this beer bottle, if you need glass and you don't have glass in its raw form in the workshop, it will automatically start scrapping these beer bottles in order to obtain glass. Just a cautionary note there, if you get something like say a carving or anything made of a raw material or anything that is classified as junk and you want to keep it, do not store it in the workshop, because if you do, the workshop might by accident scrap it when you need that material. So just that word of caution. There's another thing that some players like doing. As I said previously, there are quite a few settlements. Now some players choose to build up all the settlements, but they will obviously choose one as a home settlement or home base and build that up more. Now most of us do that, but there are few that prefer to rather just focus on 1 or 2 settlements, and even though they have unlocked the others, they will just loot the others for the resources. Normally they will unlock it in a normal method. They will loot the resources, and if they're settlers, they will move the settlers if possible. There you can also go further and you can set up recruitment there, you can set up supply convoys, but you do risk that those settlements will be attacked then, and it becomes a bit more involved then. So normally they will just loot the place and move the settlers. I will go into more details on all those things, moving settlers, supply convoys, all that. So I won't talk too much about that for now. That will probably be discussed in, I think it probably episode 3 or episode 4. The next episode that I will do, I'll probably talk about basic recruitment, the requirements of your settlement, your settlers, what the build mode interface actually helps you with, the meanings of those things, and basic defenses. Maybe if there's more time I'll do advanced circuits, otherwise that'll be just episode 3. Okay, that's it for now. Oh, I'm just